Here at Rockwell Automation's world headquarters, research has been proceeding to develop a line of automation products that establishes new standards for quality, technological leadership, and operating excellence. With customer success as our primary focus, work has been proceeding on the crudely conceived idea of an instrument that would not only provide inverse reactive current for use in unilateral phase detractors, but would also be capable of automatically synchronizing cardinal gram meters. Such an instrument, comprised of Dodge gears and bearings, Reliant electric motors, Allen Bradley controls, and all monitored by Rockwell software, is Rockwell Automation's reupload. Now basically, the only new principle involved is that instead of power being generated by the relative motion of conductors and fluxes, it's produced by the modial interaction of magneto-reluctance and capacitive diractance. The original machine had a base plate of prefamulated amulite surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing in such a way that the two spurving bearings were in a direct line with a panametric fam. The lineup consisted simply of 6 hydrocoptic Marsal vanes, so fitted to the ambifacient lunar wane shaft that side-fumbling was effectively prevented. The main winding was of the normal Lotus O deltoid type placed in panendermic semi-boloid slots of the stator. Every 7th conductor being connected by a non-reversible tremie pipe to the differential girdle spring on the up end of the gram meters. Moreover, whenever fluorescent score motion is required, it may also be employed in conjunction with a drawn reciprocation dingle arm to reduce sinusoidal deplenaration. The retroencabulator has now reached a high level of development, and it's being successfully used in the operation of Milford trunnions. It's available soon wherever Rockwell Automation products are sold.
Here in Path's product development shop, we often look to other industries for technologies that can be adapted for life-saving use in global health, which is why the turbo encabulator caught our attention. Turbo encabulators, of course, have been a standard part of many industrial processes since the 1970s. But the cardinal gram meters alone often cost tens of thousands of dollars. And naturally, the price point increases when powered by the modial interaction of the capacitive distractance and magneto-reluctance, as most models currently are. The precise alignment required for the panametric fam makes them difficult both to calibrate and maintain. And that's where Path comes in. Our 3rd generation turbo encabulator, which we refer to as the micro-encabulator, absolutely changes the game. Bindia, tell us a bit more about it.
Sure. Our earliest designs focused on reducing costs by using 3 hydrocoptic Marsal vanes instead of the usual 6, all connected by a Jeffries tube to a quasi-luvial wane shaft that we 3D printed right here in the shop. Basically, it was a clever hack to prevent side-fumbling in the semi-boloid slots of the stator while maintaining allosteric viscosity. Unfortunately, in field tests, the metapolar refractive shim often overheated when the core temperature exceeded the Tongfei threshold. This next generation microencabulator solves this issue by leveraging the Beck transverse formation as well as replacing the cardinal gram meters with low-cost multiplexing quietes.
Our microencabulator has a rugged amulite casing, and its transvective microcontroller allows it to run off of a car battery.
For decades now, Scott Sports has been developing a line of do-it-all mountain bikes that establish new, industry-leading standards in quality, technological leadership, and operating excellence. These advancements not only elevate the propulsive reactiveness for use in inclinationary travel, but are also capable of metromechanical biproximation. To achieve these feats of engineering excellence, we invented the trail encabulator. Gone are the days of replenerating orbital bearings with the help of new side-symmetric principles, which are clearly demonstrable just by looking at the central quadrant of the frame. The Scott Genius 900 is the first bike to be integrated with the trail encabulator. The original Genius was metafabricated with a malleable, pre-famulated carbonite shell that produced extraordinary results. And with years of extracellular analysis has led to a class-leading breakthrough in state-of-the-art hydrocoptic Marsal vein technology. Now, basically, the only new principle involved is that the coefficient of phenolic friction has been nullified due to the inclusion of a binitrogen charged propulsion shaft with additional modal capabilities. This can be accessed via an amorphous flange located on the rearward side of the vertical spurving support. And as a result, side-fumbling has effectively been prevented. Our navigational torsion flexor thrives in direct opposition to the anti-vulcanized components prevalent in our competitors' bicycles. Supported by the industry's strongest micronanometers, it is resistant to over 12 trillion BTUs. Furthermore, ever present on the Genius 900 is our patented, universally celebrated twin lock technology, which is easily actuated with a multilateral regulator. The trail encabulator enables groundbreaking rear end stiffness that has been vigorously tested through a variety of Type 2 unilateral laser instruments. Via global test sessions and extensive cyberchromatic feedback on various public comment sections, the new Genius ST replaces twin lock technology with a monoregulator that provides, through its additional oil temperator and nude technology, ultimate adjustability in both ascending and descending environments. Simply put, all of these never-before-seen technological advancements from the Scott extracollacular analysis team have led to a product that is quite genius. Available wherever Scott sports products are sold.
Hi, I'm Bud.
I'm Tony.
Here at the Dodge Division Viper Automotive Operations, research has been proceeding to develop a line of heavy-duty transmissions and differentials that establishes new standards for reliability, durability, and quality. Talented engineers like Tony have been striving to make automotive history. He's part of the same dedicated team that brought us the revolutionary automatic head scratcher, the gnarly wank shaft spudulator, and of course, the fruited Pop-Tart. Now they deliver to us what will be the next milestone in Chrysler's engineering history. With customer needs as our primary focus, work is proceeding on the crudely conceived idea of an instrument that would not only supply inverse reactive current for use in unilateral phase detractors, but would also be capable of automatically synchronizing cardinal gram meters, formerly referred to as gear rattle or clunk. Such an instrument is the turbo encabulator. Now, basically, the only new principle involved is that instead of the power being generated by the relative motion of conductors and fluxes, it's produced by the modal interaction of magnetoreluctance and capacitive diractance. The original machine had a base plate of prefamulated amulite surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing in such a way that the two spurving bearings were in a direct line with the panametric fam. Now, the latter simply consisted of 6 hydrocoptic impeller vanes so fitted to the ambifacient lunar wane shaft that side-fumbling was effectively prevented. The main winding was of the Lotus O Delta type placed in panendermic semi-boloid slots of the stator, every 7th conductor being connected by a non-reversible tremie pipe to the differential girdle spring on the up end of the gram meters. The turbo encabulator has now reached a high level of development and is being successfully used in the operation of Nofer trunnions. Moreover, whenever a fluorescent score motion is required, it may also be employed in conjunction with a drawn reciprocation dingle arm to reduce sinusoidal depleneration. In other words, all gear rattle and driveline clunk through the use of the turbo encabulator has been fixed. Thank you.
Thanks, Bud. Now that we know how the turbo encabulator works for the Viper GTS and RT10, let's take a closer look at its diagnosis and service. For the purposes of obscurity, we have removed the casing to expose the heart of the turbo encabulator, the magneto-reluctance modial interactor. Since little or nothing is known about the principles involved in magneto-reluctance, diagnosing faults can be a problem. Connect the DRB3 to the aft end of the MOXIE interrupter using special adapter WUPB2, also known as the WUPB2, making sure the osmolality of the phase detractors is not extrapolated. Begin the test by selecting model year, VIN number, paint color, location of battery, vehicle mileage, and model type, and the turbo encabulator run test. If there are any system faults, they will be displayed in secret code on the DRB3 display. It's a simple head code, anyone can catch it. The most common fault is sigmoid rumbling below the belt line, which the customer will refer to as a burping or even a hiccuping noise. To service this fault, refer to the Turbo Encabulator Diagnostic Procedures Manual and Songbook. And perform test TE10. Using the Geiger scale on the DRB3, measure the wrench-in output of the capacitance reactance flux muster. If it's above 10 RGs, replace the unit. If it's below 10 RGs, you'll be directed to do a series of tests that will effectively raise the billable hours for the service department, but will perform no other useful function. All other faults should be treated as if they do not exist, and the customer should be told that the burping or hiccuping, or what has been referred to by some customers as gear rattle and driveline clunk, are normal and is caused by too much gas in the fuel system or improper driving habits. This, of course, can be remedied simply by turning up the volume on the radio or by inserting the optional earplugs.
Finish the script. Finish the script.
No, the grip isn't finished. He's Scottish. Oh, thanks. Back to you, Bud.
Well, that's about it for this month's installment of the Dodge Division's Viper Automotive Master Tech Tips. Be sure to watch next month when Tony and I cover headlight adjustment, diagnosis, and repair. From all of us at Dodge, see you then. Some fire, huh? I'll never forget, it was in the mid-'70s when a scenario much like this one took place at Ford Studios. You remember the Pinto, Tony? It's quite funny, actually. The technician had backed into a kitchen set, and of course the Pinto immediately burst into flames. Of course, that happened in a rehearsal, not unlike your televised faux pas. Oh, by the way, you better have those burns checked. I'm not sure this eyebrow is going to grow back in. Maybe you could wear a monocle or a patch. A patch. Yeah, you could be known as that swashbuckling engineer that single-handedly destroyed the turbo encabulator. Well, enough of this. Feel like getting a drink? Smoky?
So, Redding, if we could just pop that onto the production environment.
Of course, I was going to put it on Space Cloud.
Thanks, Redding, that's perfect. For a number of years now, as first described by Bud Haggart, work has been proceeding in order to bring to perfection the crudely conceived idea of a transmission that would not only be capable of supplying inverse reactive current for use in unilateral phase detractors, but would also be capable of automatically synchronizing cardinal grammeters. Viper Innovations present the updated version of the Turbo Encabulator, the Turbo Encabulator 2.0 with Quantic IoT. The concept of power being generated through the modial interaction of magneto-reluctance and capacitive duractance is nothing new, and one that is familiar to the industry. With a new dawn of faxo-relaxants and hydrotonic propractants being realised, Viper Innovations felt it was only right that the inefficiencies in the Lustenhauser complex be finally addressed. Fog to cloud, and cloud to Sirius Cumulonimbus-Stratus cloud communications are available as standard, with bespoke communication options harnessing primal polyframbolescence on the BEN and DER interfaces. Viper Innovations have been working to incorporate the concept of matronymic phase displaction with increased fault detection, along with a sophisticated warning system included in the package. As such, the Tremie pipe, while still connected to the differential girdle spring on the up end of the grammeters, is now able to produce anti-symmactic rebraction, if only in one direction. As such, the panendermic semiboloid slots of the stator can be reduced to a more compact size. The Turbo Encabulator 2.0 supports Quantic IoT. To put this in simple terms, with this mode engaged, the vibration of the lunar wane shaft increases incrementally, which creates a stream of photons as characterized through the de Plasterman equation, which, as the acceleration decreases, leads to the difomial interaction in the Tremie pipes, providing the obvious quantic benefits that can be harnessed by the end user. With the latest technologies on the market, including the solar wax tube coupled with the omni-regraphable spurving bearings, the losses through the malleable logarithmic casing are less, especially when the base plate of prefamulated amulite is swapped out for the newly discovered bramiferric asparhimiphate in what is known as a benderectomy procedure. Whilst these parts may look very ordinary, they have been procured to the JSO 20,523,001 standard. The entire supply chain has undergone the triangle malleability assessment combined with castoid probing inspections. The Turbo Encabulator 2.0 has reached a high level of development, and field trials have been conducted. It is currently going through the final production engineering phase and is available soon, wherever Viper Innovations products are sold.
For a number of years now, work has been proceeding in order to bring perfection to the crudely conceived idea of an edge device that would not only supply granular controlled packet transmission for use in multilateral data networking applications, but would also be capable of automatically binding and synchronizing the asymmetric block-based storage elements. Today we are proud to announce the launch of the SD-WAN Turbo Cloud Encabulator. A hybridized new principle of this technology has been implemented, where instead of data being transported via relative protocols of multiple labels, switched via an oscillating current, it is produced through the modal interaction of amalgamated links in aggregated packets. The new architecture is designed on a framework of pre-extruded Kubernetes container orchestration, surmounted by malleable logarithmic relays in such a way that the two spurving headers are in a direct line with the panametric cells they reside on. The latter consists simply of 2, not 6, distributional ordinances so fitted to the ambifation ingress and egress points on the portal so that side tunneling of data is effectively eliminated. Once the hypervisor has been initiated into the multi-tenanted, multi-hybrid, multi-cloud, DevOps have full access to the API, thus giving virtualized direct control of the UCPE, vCPE and other OSI Layer 7 deployments in a manner far simpler than your standard containerization architectures. The SD-WAN Turbo Cloud Encabulator has now reached a higher level of development and is being successfully used in the operation of reciproco sites to reduce sinusoidal jitteration.
The original machine had a base plate of prefamulated amulite, surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing, in such a way that the two spurving bearings were in a direct line with a panometric fan.
Yes, that was once me, extolling the virtues of retroencabulation. Now, I may not be the dashing young on-camera narrator I once was, but if history tells me anything, it's that the Battle of Hastings was fought in 1066. But that's not the point. The point is that encabulation has a rich, sumptuous history with a delicate, flaky crust, relatively unknown to emergent cybersecurity personnel. Allow me to elucidate. The discovery of encabulation was quite accidental when engineers in the skunk works at Mutual Polydynamics coupled a transcendental Hopper datoscope with a spiral decommutator via the application of anhydrous angling pins, resulting in a device that allowed frenetic mastication at alarming speeds. The device was kept secret for many years, owing to the horrific accident that occurred shortly after its inception. Howsoever, the U.S. Department of Defense and the National Guard soon realized its potential as a weapon of choice, leading to its next iteration, the hydroencabulator, which they nicknamed Fat Boy Slim. Understanding the grisly bare fact of the devastation that would result from its deployment, the project was retubed and transmogrified for industrial supplications. This version, known as the pseudo-encabulator, was the infernal Faustian engine that allowed post-war America to realize its aspirations and become the domino player on the world stage. Everybody was encabulating.
I do not understand you. Well, I knew you wouldn't, but if I'd have told you before, the altimeter on the other side prenulates the canoe to spell hepulous, and that's the entire secret. There you have it.
During the tumultuous 60s, the psycho-funkadelic vinyl encabulator emerged as the long-haired hippie people's answer to their parents' aging technology, scarving a resonance groove in the hot wax of a new generation of encabulators. However, interest in encabulation waned precipitously until the late 80s, when the public was ready for the next transubstantiation of encabulation, the extraordinarily populist turbo-encabulator.
Now, basically, the only new principle involved is that instead of power being generated by the relative motion of conductors and fluxes, it is produced by the modial interaction of magneto-reluctance and capacitive directance.
Which brings us to where we are today, floundering in the wake of the obscenely similar retroencabulator, featuring yours truly, living proof that leveraging existing assets is not plagiarism. Now, despite encabulation's unparalleled success in reducing sinusoidal depleneration through advanced dingle-arm technology, it has failed to meet the unanticipated needs of the cybersecurity industry to create zero-trust operations in level zero monitoring environments to ameliorate zero-day process attacks. That is why, despite zero interest from industry, the SANS ICS security team has taken it upon themselves to develop an entirely new level of encabulation, unresponsive to the needs of the average consumer and undoubtedly without merit in terms of concomitant asynchronous communication with client-side connectivity. Ladies and gentlemen, ISACs of all sectors, beer included, and children of all ages, may I present the hyperencabulator. The hyperencabulator is nothing less than a key ruminant in the advancement of retrograde phenomenology, by which we can achieve results that are plastic, spastic, and synosynclastic without sacrificing both normative reality and AI-informed modalities. You'll note that the hyperencabulator utilizes indiscrete modules, making possible virtualized environments that include PLC-controlled stand-up reheaters, as well as Retanium-based cloud benders. It also includes a dedicated OT Security Operations Center access panel, known as the sock drawer. The primary modules of the hyperencabulator are stackable, DIN-rackable, and unhackable. And please note the complete absence of side-fumbling, owing to the maintenance of tolerances allowing a tight conniption fit. Please take little note of this module. The open-source digital ghost daemon, which allows transparent OT invisibility owing entirely to the manipulation of airborne particulate matter and single-surface reflective devices. Or, for criminal infrastructure sectors where the dependability of supramotive Wendelsprecks is essential, our handsome ransomware hypervisor is perpetually alert to SQL injections of Gates tracking chips and quantum IoT identification dots. Moreover, whenever a pen test is elected to assure the integrity of a safety instrumented system, Our Purdue model modal module defeathers and plucks clean every proverbial fox in the henhouse and keeps would-be intruders wondering which metaphor got mixed first. As you can see, the hyperencabulator has reached a high level of development. Whereas previous dissimilar devices operated under the concept of manumatic stressor reduction and macroeconomic supply chain SBOMs, the hyperencabulator operates totally under the principle of colonic effluvium expulsion and audible gaseous eructations. Thomas Edison once said that invention was 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. If that's the case, Thomas Edison should have invented deodorant, but I regress. In the near future, hyperencabulation will ultimately replace all traditional cybersecurity safeguarding processes with osculating segmentation and entropic astrogation, making what was once thought to be impossible, probable. At SANS ICS Security, when we're not innovating, we're encabulating.